Good morning. It is 8:32 a.m. on Monday, April 18th, 2022. I'm Christiana Ellis and I've been up for a little bit. This is 5 more minutes. I hope that everyone had either a happy Easter or just a happy weekend, whichever applies to you. Or rather, if you celebrate Easter, that's what I mean. I personally very much enjoyed photos and videos of my niece doing dyeing Easter eggs and going on a little Easter egg hunt in a pretty little dress. She's very cute. Um, for my own part, I mostly didn't do very much over the weekend because I was just kind of not feeling great. My allergies, like I don't know what it is that I'm allergic to. I've never really gotten it officially tested or anything, but I tend to not get chronic allergies where I just have it every day for weeks at a time or whatever. I get it for a couple of days and then it stops. At least for a while, I don't know. But anyway, I was feeling pretty just congested and itchy and just blah most of yesterday. But you get by. Uh, I've still been playing a lot of Elden Ring, although I'm getting close to end game for it. I'm pretty sure. So it's funny. One of the things that I noticed yesterday was that I was starting to feel like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that I've explored just about everywhere except for this one region, and then going in to do the actual end game stuff. Um, Only to casually check out a YouTube video that points out oh, here's these five best weapons that you should check out, and I look at them, and three of the five are in areas that I just missed, in places that I had been already. The game is bizarrely big. I was actually one of the podcasts I listened to was just talking about how it's really almost like bizarrely big in the sense that it feels like they could have easily gotten away with having the game be half the size that it is and saving the other half for just expansion or DLC or whatever, instead of trying to have all of it be all at once. It's kind of like saying, um, hey, someone, can you make dinner for us? And then they say, all right, here you go. I've loaded up these 5 pallets with enough meals to keep you fed for the next 3 months. And you're like, you almost don't thank you's not even the right thing to say. It's like what? Um, but the game continues to be a lot of fun in ways that are not always obvious to people who haven't gotten into this style of game before, which is fair, right? No game's for everybody, but one of the things that I watched recently was a video that talked about how funny the game is in ways that most games that we think of as funny are not. And this entails lots of what we sometimes call environmental jokes, or at least what that video called, or just things where, if you think about how does a joke work, right? It establishes a premise and it builds some suspense or tension where it is you want to know the answer to a question, or you want to know how the situation is going to resolve, but then the punchline, so to speak, is that it resolves the tension in a surprising or unexpected way, right? And that's why sometimes humor, as well as things like horror or sexiness, can be very subjective, because not everyone's going to react to the surprise of a joke in the same way. But what games like Elden Ring and the other FromSoft games do when we say an environmental joke is what we're talking about is things where you're in suspense because there's a dangerous situation, say, in the game. But then that is resolved in a surprising, unexpected way that usually means your character has just died. Not always, but sometimes, often. And an example last night, and a big part of the enjoyment of the game is coming to think of those things as funny instead of, oh, this sucks, this is stupid, this is BS. How could I have known that there was going to be a thing there? And the answer is, you couldn't have, but now you know, right? A lot of the exploration of these games is dying to something and then knowing to avoid it the next time, right? Like that's a big part of the learning curve of these games is like there's lots of stuff that there's no way you're supposed to know in advance. It's supposed to get you. And so, for example, I'm in an area that I've sort of cleared out, and there's another area down that I can see below, and just this narrow little walkway to get down to it. And so I'm creeping down this narrow walkway, looking ahead to make sure if there's, is there anything down there? Is there anything that I should try to hit from range before I'm down there in the area? You know what? I bet there's going to be something that's going to jump out at me, and then all of a sudden, kablam! A ballista that I hadn't seen off to the side where I wasn't even looking just blasts me and knocks me off of the ledge, and I fall to my death. And it's just one of those things where it's like, ah! See, and so the joke of it, of course, surprising, unexpected way, is that, like, I'm expecting danger down there, and turns out, whoop, nope, over there. Clever girl. That sort of deal. But sometimes it's also, they've just got weird little scripted things like, it's too long to explain. But you know what? I'll link the Polygon video that I'm talking about. I'll put it in one of these little things, just because I think it explains what I'm talking about better. But in the meantime, I'm getting close to the end of that. So people who are really tired of me talking about Elden Ring will probably not have to deal with it for too much longer. So I'll leave it there, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow for 5 more minutes.